Hey guys, Bass Recon. I'm going to go over real quick while I'm doing this here in my kitchen. Um, how I tie my drop shot rig. Um, right now, I was fishing it on a medium heavy fast action rod. Uh, I actually ended up breaking that one not too long ago, being dumb. So don't do what I did, but it worked really well for me with the medium heavy fast action with hook sets and stuff like that. But uh, I recently bought a replacement rod. It's a medium fast action. Uh, it's a 13 fishing blackout rod. No, I'm not affiliated with any of these things in this video. I don't get proceeds or anything. It's just personal preference of what I like to use. And I want to say I use it on so I got my blackout rod, and I want to say this is so this is a 13 fishing Creed GT reel. Really good reel. I've not had any problems with this reel whatsoever. I've caught a lot of fish on it. So that's my setup. What I use, or what I'm starting to use. I haven't caught a fish on this rod yet because it's brand new. But so I use fluorocarbon. I think this is like 10-pound fluorocarbon line, and haven't had a problem. Other than break off a few, but that's because I didn't have my drag set right. But got a 1/0 or number one offset hook. I want to say this is a Gamakatsu hook. I really don't remember, but you just need a small offset hook. You can get away with like a 2/0 or whatever, depending on if you're using a worm or something. You got your fluorocarbon, you got your offset hook, and you're gonna need a weight. And I just use these little teardrop weights. I'm gonna show you a little thing that I do that makes it easier for me if I want to change weights real fast. They make drop shot weights. If you want to use those, that's cool. But what I do is, if I want to be weedless, I'll use, an offset hook. Stupid thing won't focus. Or I don't think I have any right here. But if I want to be, no, I don't have any. I don't think. No, oh, wait. What do I do? No, I just have my weedless wacky worm hooks. But it's if you have like a drop shot hook that looks something similar to that without this piece on there, and you can nose hook your bait on there. But I don't have any drop shot hooks right now, so. But I have my offset hook. So what I'm going to do is I take my line, I run it through the eye, and I always start with the hook points here, and well, because I'm sort of a lefty, but I got the hook point here, I got my line, I go through the eye this way, and I pull about a 1 arm's length, a little bit more of line through. And if you need more line, loosen your drag and just pull some more line through. Makes it very easy. So I got a pretty healthy amount. I don't know if you can see that, but hook, line. So it's a pretty good amount. 1 arm's length is good, depending on how deep or how much space you want between the hook and the weight. I usually leave about 8 to 12 inches, depending on the water depth and what I'm fishing around. So what I just did there is, so my line's going through this way, so it's going through that way. So what you do now is you tie a Palomar knot. Palomar knot, you just basically come back through the eye the opposite way from which you just put it in, and you make a loop end right here on this end. And slide that down, make sure you leave plenty of tag end on your line. So if I want more tag end, I'm going to pull more line up from my rod. And I like to have a lot of excess tag end on this thing because it makes it easy. So you've got your loop end that comes through the eye. You're going to tie a standard Palomar knot, which is pretty simple. It's just loop. You just make a loop and your hook's now facing that way. An overhand knot, you come through the middle. So we'll do that again. So you got this loop here that you created. This is your loop end from your when you run the line through. You come through the middle like such. You just pull that through. That's that loop end. You do not cinch it down all the way. You take that loop end, you bring the hook through that loop end, and then you bring your line up. Now, very important, very key is wetting the line because you don't want your knot to fail. And with fluorocarbon and mono, not so much with braid, but I still wet braid too, but with fluorocarbon and mono, that line will create friction when you cinch it down, and it creates heat, which heat is not really conducive with these type of lines. So wet it. And then you slowly cinch that down. That's nice and good on there. So now I got my tag end here. This is the end that the weight's going to go on. And this is the line coming from the rod. So you see what happens there. That hook is upside down. You want that hook to stand up the other way. So if you happen to do this and get to this point and it's not standing up the appropriate way, do not cut your line and retie and do all that stuff. It's simple fix. You probably, some of y'all have probably seen this before, but we're going to go through it again because I like to do this because it adds a little bit more to my line. And I make sure and ensure that it stands up the right way. So you take that tag in where the weight's going to go down here, and you bring it right back through. Got the hook right here. You bring it right back through the eye of the hook, going in this way. You bring it down through there, and then what that does is it just pulls that knot. I don't know if you can see it. I try to get it to focus. Get out of the frame here. Nope, I want to focus. Don't want to focus. So what it does is right here, you can't really see it, but there it goes. My finger in the way. That knot rolls around and sits right on top of that eye, and it can move through the eye if it's big enough. But what it does is now the end that your weight is going to go down on is going to make that, when you add that weight, it's going to make that thing stand up, and it stands up a little bit better if you notice from when I had it up there before to what it is now. It stands that up, and that bait's going to help it float a little bit too. When you're moving it, it's going to, so when you set the hook, that hook is going to pop up. So that's what I like to do with that. But then now, so you got all this extra excess. This is, I don't know, about 18 inches or so that I have here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how far down I want my weight, which is going to be about right there. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to create, just basically pinch that line together, fold it back on itself, pinch it together, and then all I do is I take and I tie an overhand knot, just like I did with the Palomar knot with this loop end. And if I can make that a little bigger because big fingers. So I bring that up there, tie that through. And what happens is cinch all that down. I create this big loop in. I don't need it to be that, I don't mean to make the loop that big, but because I just want y'all to see what I'm doing here. I'm going to make it that big. I'm going to trim off the tag end there. So now I got this big loop down here, and you're probably like, what the heck are you doing with that? Well, I've got my big teardrop weight thing here that I like to use because they're very much cheaper than buying a bunch of drop shot weights and stuff. You can get these in a big pack, different sizes and stuff. So what I do is I just take this loop that I made right here, I fold it, and I just take it and punch it through the eye of this weight, like that. And then all I do, just like you did with your Palomar knot, is I just pick that and boom. And now I have a thing that if I need to quickly change my weight, I just pull this down and take it off, and I can change out different size weights. Simple. So put that back on there. And now got your drop shot rig. Ta-da. Tie lines.